Hey there. Today we're going to make a round robin sampler in Ableton using Expression Control. All right, we're in Ableton. Would you believe it? So I'm going to start out by just recording some samples using this wooden frog here. Okay, I'm going to consolidate and then I'm going to normalize all these. So if you do Control J on a clip and then you open up the clip by double clicking on it, and then you go down here to the gain and double click on the gain, it will normalize your samples for you. And then I'm going to go through here and cut all these up. Okay, so I've cut all them up and I'm going to go ahead and select all of them. Well, I'm going to go through and consolidate to make sure that all these fades are baked in. And then I'm going to select all these and I'm going to right click and I'm going to say crop clips. So this is going to crop all these clips into my current project folder over here. You go down and then processed and then crop. You can rename them if you like. But now I have 8 samples of various performances of the frog. So I can get rid of this audio track. I've added a MIDI track. I'm going to go ahead and add a sampler. Quick tip for anyone using Ableton: Control F is a time saver. So I'm going to drag the sampler onto this MIDI track, and now I can drag these samples. Again, go into current project, select all of them, drag them in here, and now if you open up the zone, we can see all of our samples here. Okay, and then I'm going to enlarge this right here. If you right click in this area, you can make it small, medium, or large. What we're going to be using, and like first off, I can say this, in Ableton 12, if you have Ableton 12, the sampler introduced round robin. So you can kind of skip all the steps that we're going to be going through if you have Ableton 12, but this is also a great technique to learn for other reasons. Okay, so right here, you can go to the sample selector, and we're going to start out by, if I had more samples, I might do this a little bit differently. I'm going to start out by dragging the ends of these samples to the beginning so that they each take up one slot. If you've ever worked with a chain selector, it's basically the same thing, except this one's just dealing with samples. And now I can put them on their own line or their own slot. So now we have 8 samples, each one has their own slot. So here's why we do round robin. If I were to just play this one sample, or let's make a MIDI clip and do like 16th notes on one sample. Okay, they all sound the same. It has what we call the machine gun effect. Machine gun effect. Machine. I'm actually going to go in here to the filter global tab, and it's by default set to -12, and I'm just going to zero this out so that all the samples are coming through clearly. So now if you play this, they all sound the same, machine gun effect. So what we want to do is we want to have a random sample played each time. So I'm going to Control F and I'm going to search for Expression Control, and that's right here. I'm going to drag that down. It is a MIDI effect, so it goes before all of the other plugins. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different controls here. And in the source, you can control various things: velocity, mod wheel, pitch bend, pressure, blah, blah, blah. We're going to use random, okay? And then I'm going to use the remote function, and we are going to click map. And when it's blinking like this, that means you can assign it. And we're going to go up here to the sample selection window and click here. And you can see it already moved. So now we know that it is linked. Okay, and then I'm going to turn the random up all the way in the expression control, and then steps is fine where it is. All of this other stuff is fine where it is. Okay, so you can see if I start playing, it's going all over the place, and we don't have samples over here. So we need to go down here to the minimum and maximum value, and the first one is on 0, and the last one is on 7. So we need to go 0 to 7, and now... Huh, interesting. It's going above that. So let's try 6. I don't really understand why it's 6, but it works. Okay, that's round robin, but we can actually go farther than that. And let's say you only have one sample. Here's another thing that you can do. Let's say we only have one sample. Let's get rid of the expression control and let's move this back to 1, or we can just drag this all the way, or we can just drag this all the way out, and that's fine. We can get rid of the zone. We're only using one sample. Okay, back to the machine gun effect. All right, so what we can do is we can drag on expression control. Again, Control F to search, drag expression control before the sampler. We can do random and set it to remote, and then turn the random all the way up. And then what we can do is we can Control F and do shifter, or if you have an earlier version of Ableton, it's called frequency shifter. And we're going to go to frequency and we're going to select the fine knob here. So let's go ahead and click map. It's blinking. We can click fine. All right. And now every time I'm just playing one note. Here it is. Okay, so if you're into that, then that works for you, but we can go back to change the parameters here, the min and max value. You can change the random amount. You can change the output range, right? This is set as a percentage and this is set as a value. So for this instance, what I would like to do is go kind of right in the middle. And so I'm going to do 40. No, let's do 50 and 80. Yeah, we could even do more, maybe 35, 45 and 85. Okay, that's a little bit too much. We can go back to what we had before. So as you can hear, that kind of got rid of the machine gun effect and it gave us a little bit of variety for each note. You can use this same expression control technique on all kinds of other plugins in Ableton, and it's amazing. Expression control also has all these other ones. So random just randomizes the note and then outputs it as a value, but velocity, mod wheel, pitch bend, pressure, all of these other things, and you can use MPE for this, are all different values that you can use to modulate anything within Ableton. So maybe you already knew how to do round robin, or maybe you have Ableton 12 and you don't need to know all this, but expression control alone is definitely worth diving into. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment so I know you're not a bot. All my links are in the description and I will see you in the next one.